Hi Aquarius, welcome to your February 2016 love reading. It's Rena here, and I just posted your January one, so I have it fresh in my mind, some of the cards, and I'm going to kind of talk about this energy that I think is continuing, because I mentioned that for some of you, you were dealing with a person who is rather unstable. And the card I picked for the past position in your February reading is the King of Cups. So this gives me a little bit more background and makes me think that some of you were trying to be a shoulder to cry on, somebody who was understanding of this person, and it maybe morphed into a relationship. And Aquarius gets a good and well-deserved rap and rep for being a rather detached sign, being an air sign. But I also know that we have more than the sun in our charts. So some of you may have a lot of Pisces, since it's a sign right next to you. Or it could be any other water sign, because the moon can be any sign. The rising sign can be any sign. So some of you may have a lot more sensitivity than the typical Aquarian, and you saw somebody that was in need and you hooked up with them in some way and you got more than you bargained for. And now the energy is you being the Nine of Pentacles, which is a self-sufficient person. It's an energy of somebody who is taking care of herself, and of course, I'm just responding to the actual depiction on the card. It can be a man as well. And, nines represent going within. The Major Arcana has the Hermit card as the 9 card. We have the Moon card, 1 plus 8 equals 9 in the Major Arcana. And we are in a 9 universal year right now, so there's a lot of that energy floating around. And this is a good thing, because when you go within, you learn from your mistakes. And some people do not learn from their mistakes. They get with another person right away, and it's off to the races, back into hell, back into drama, back into the very thing that they probably don't want, but they're still doing it for whatever reason. And in the case of Aquarius, a lot of it is that you don't like your food dish moved very much. You're very fixed. It's a fixed sign, so you tend to do things over and over again. You like the rut because it's familiar. You like the familiar. You don't like to change. Even though you can change sometimes very surprisingly and do something totally unexpected now and again, you don't like to actually have your universe altered all that much. The reason that you have been experiencing this, and this is part of the cause, you could say, everything has a cause, is the Four of Pentacles. And there are many interpretations of this card. It could be that this person was cleaning out your bank account, and so this is why you had to get rid of them. Or it could have meant that in some of your cases, the relationship was with a Capricorn or other earth sign, and it just was incompatible. Not every Aquarius might have been experiencing somebody who was behaving out of control. You just might have been in an incompatible relationship. And so you were dealing with somebody who is very dollars and cents, and you're not on the same wavelength. So that's always a possibility. But some of you may be too stingy. You may be holding on to your money too tightly, and the other person is offended that you are treating them like you don't even value them. And your opposite sign is Leo. And if you're involved with a Leo, this would be particularly the case, where they would be highly offended by your, let's say, what can we say? What's a nice way of saying stingy? Fiscally conservative ways. And the reason I mentioned Leo being an opposite sign is that sometimes that polarity attracts one to the other. And so, or any fire sign might not appreciate your behavior. The message from the universe is the Eight of Pentacles. So it could mean that some of you have to work on this relationship. Maybe it's not a life and death situation. Maybe if it is a spending issue, it's something for you to work on. The law of attraction, not feeling poverty consciousness that you have to restrict everything. This might be conditioning from childhood that needs to go bye-bye. For some of you, the Eight of Pentacles is about working on your passion in life while you're healing from the relationship. So it's something for you to get absorbed in and to do right. It's a craftsman. So a musician who is practicing, a writer who is editing and not just going with their first draft. This is the kind of eye to details that is so important when you're trying to do something of value. And as I said, it could also relate to a relationship that's worth salvaging but has some rough spots. The advice, which, that other card seemed more like advice, that was the message from the universe. So that was kind of like a spiritual type of advice. The kind of mundane advice is the Four of Cups, which is a card of being meh or blah about life. So as advice, I wouldn't think that it would be giving you any. What I will say is that I would look at any area of your life that you do not feel a strong positive reaction towards. And especially in relationships, if you're the type of person, because you may have a basic emotional nature that is kind of like the Four of Cups because of your detachment. And it may not mean that you are kind of dissatisfied with everything, but you just may be so blasé, because Aquarius is a very open-minded sign. So you are perfectly willing to tolerate some people that other people would not have anything to do with, because you like differences. As a matter of fact, you like quirks in people. That's kind of attractive to you, and maybe is what gets you hooked up with some real characters from time to time that turn your life upside down. So maybe this advice is to watch out for the tendency to feel rather disinterested in certain things as a gauge to know exactly what you don't want. And this gets you better in touch with your feelings, because sometimes you might be a bit divorced from your feelings. And the outcome is the Nine of Cups. So there we have, you see, we have 3 cups in this, and the rest are pentacles. So it's like money and emotions. The pentacles relate to the practical, and the emotional part of you will be stirred, but it will be like you get what you want in some way in February. Venus, the goddess of love, will be entering your first house of how you appear to others on the 17th of February. So before that date, it will be in your 12th house. So there might be some real creative inspiration that comes into your consciousness during that time, because Venus also relates to art. And so if you are an artist, keep that period of time in your mind before the 17th of February, because you might have some great inspirations. But it also may relate to a lover from a past life that you're dealing with, or that you will you meet that person maybe on the new moon in February, on February 8th. So this is going to be a great time for you, I think, Aquarius, because the sun is in your sign, and I think you're going to be feeling quite energized and ready to start a new solar year and make your new intentions on the 8th. If you want a partner who's on the same wavelength, set your intentions. Visualize what you want. Don't just settle for anything. Take care, you guys. Bye.